I'm laying low in the cut, Sterling. I'm laying low because I got a lot to say. You see, this is the first time I've held my mic because it's an issue that's, I know I'm smiling, but it's something that's been annoying me and it's been itching at me ever since these protests have started.
I gotcha. Okay.
So if people don't know, if you've been living under a rock, I don't know how you can't see it. If your dedicated news channel is Fox News, it was on there as well. It's the NBA postseason strike, as you can see at the bottom, because you have forward-thinking players who are trying to be activists at the same time as playing their sport professionally. And so they decided last night from the Milwaukee Bucks to not come out and play against the Orlando Magic, all because the second shooting that happened with the individual that came across state lines.
I don't know if you would call it second shooting, another instance of police brutality. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's the second shooting of the individual that came across state lines and shot a protester.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had the police brutality video of 7 shots in the back to Jacob Blake, who has survived and is paralyzed from the waist down per reports. So the biggest thing, and it's been itching at me, it's been nipping at me all day. The easy, and I'll let you go, Sterling. I'm gonna get it. If you don't mind, I can do a quick 2.5 minute breakdown.
Man, do your thing. Yeah.
Because the thing that's been very unsettling and disheartening, obviously, is you have a platform for dumb ideas from individuals that A, don't mean well, B, really don't have common sense, but you have a crowd that perpetuates this and heightens this lack of common sense, these lack of common sense takes. And then just from a human perspective, you're like, oh, I didn't know so many people agree with this. And it's hard to bypass that, even though you're like, oh, you think rationally, those are bots, those aren't real people, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, numbers do speak, as you see from how news has gone from being fact-based to who's first, because numbers pump ads pump notoriety, or notoriety comes from all that, and which feeds into the ads. And so our model has changed. And the thing that's been annoying to me is you have these arguments and hot take people from media and social media who are like, these players live a luxurious life, so why can they complain? Or what's the point of them doing what they're doing? But if they're a recent draft pick, let's roll back a few months when they got drafted, and you were highlighting the fact that they came from humble beginnings and had to struggle to get to where they are. But we completely bypass that right now because they have made their money. So you don't think that they can relate to the crowd that they're trying to give a voice to. And that's one of the things that has been eaten at me, because it deters and steers away from the conversation that's supposed to be had, or the point that's being made. So you have stuff like that. You have the peanut gallery, I'll just put it that way, lump them all in as well. Again, that continues to steer direction away from what players are saying and what the goal is for. And from the Black Lives Matter movement, if that offends you or if that makes you feel uneasy, you say it's a Marxist movement because you quote one person's tweet or one person saying on something on a direction, as if one person has spoken for really what is a humanitarian effort. At the end of the day, if you don't agree with saying Black individuals in this country are just looking for the same respect and humanity that others are afforded and treated, then that is your right. It's your earthly God-given right. God bless you. But if you can synthesize that and then continue to put out a what if, you're not only telling on yourself, as everybody has been putting. I've seen through tweets that have put stuff on blast. You're telling on yourself, but you're also making an excuse for why you don't want to see just equal humanity given to those that haven't been given in a country that has loved the attributes of of a race for so long, but at the end of the day has never fully embraced them. It's something that's it's just been eating at me all day, Sterling. I appreciate you giving me 3 minutes.
No, man. I mean, it's on everyone's mind right now. We're trying to we're in a moment. We've talked about this for a long time, and I won't say that we're in a moment, but it's not just a moment. It's a true like movement, and we're highlighting what the NBA did yesterday, and I thought it was awesome. I want to go back to something you talked about there, which I think is interesting to point out there, is that the Bucks had the first game, right? And they've had kind of these opening games. If obviously we're working at home, so your TV's on in the background anyways. So the Bucks are supposed to play at 4:00 yesterday. 3:30 kind of comes, and next thing you know, they're like, "Yeah, we're not playing." Right. Mm-hmm. So the Magic actually kind of like taking the floor to do warm-ups, things like that. And they actually didn't, per reports and just talking to some people, they didn't like inform everybody that they were making this decision. Obviously, the Bucks do what?
I said it was a G decision.
It was, and it's one of those things. And about that, I think it's interesting to point out a couple of things about that. Well, one, right? It's I believe 40 or 50 miles is where this is all kind of taking place from Milwaukee. So very close to home for a lot of those players. And then, the second part is we're asking Black athletes, people that they're not politicians, they're not scholars. They're celebrities because of the amount of money they make. They're celebrities because of the talent that they have. So they have true influence. That's just the way that we look at things or how we do things within this world. But at the end of the day, right, they're athletes, and we're putting them in this position where we're asking them to be not only amazing at their craft, but also amazing off the field and perfect in this situation, which is
that's not fair.
Unfair. Unfair is like the easy word to say. I mean, I can't imagine being in their shoes right now. One, to your point of what you just talked about, of like a lot of them have grown up in communities that are over policed or where tensions are very rough between Black people and the police, right? So they grew up with situations like we saw recently, and now they're afforded a voice because of the fact that they are professional athletes, and they're stuck between understanding the business of what they do, right? Because truthfully, right, if they stop playing, if they don't play another game, it absolutely affects everything moving forward in the NBA, right? And I mean that like long-standing. It affects the CBA next year. There's probably a lockout. Like there's so many things that happen. Mm-hmm. So that hurts generations of other people that are trying to come up and make money and play in the NBA. On the other side, they know that they have a true responsibility to people that look just like them, just like us, right? And I can't imagine that feeling. I can't imagine having that burden on you. I absolutely applaud what the Milwaukee Bucks did yesterday, regardless of if they did it correctly with like talking to the other players and whatever. But in that moment, right, you just feel compelled to be like, hey, I have this voice, like, and people that look like me don't have this voice, and people that look like me are struggling today, right? People that are just normal, that are going to work, that are accountants or salespeople are struggling because we're still in this place in America where Black lives aren't valued. People like don't give a shit about things that happen to us. And so it's incredibly powerful what happened yesterday. One of our friends said it. It's like one of the most powerful days in sports that we've seen. And you take it even a step further today, right? A sport like the NHL that's not great at diversity, not great at the things that they've done from a racial perspective, canceled, I believe, all their games. Baseball, there's some things surrounding what the Mets did as some leaked audio came out, but the Mets.
You said the NFL canceled their game? They
canceled the NHL.
NHL. Oh, okay. I said NFL. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, my bad. NHL canceled their games. And then, there's kind of that, I don't say symbolic. Like, I think it kind of sucks that we have the leaked audio of the Mets GM kind of talking, but the Mets took the field, paused for essentially kind of like a moment of silence before the game, and then they took the field after that, and then they stepped off the field and then placed a Black Lives Matter shirt on home plate, and then left the field and did not play tonight. So it's incredibly powerful. At some point, you hope it resonates. It's not. I'm in tons of group chats with people. It's not because of kind of the things you said at the beginning there. Just, the way people are either raised or their thought process or whatever. There's so many things that go into that. But it's incredible to see what players and athletes and organizations have wanted to do here, and to try to keep us in this movement and this moment to create change that we need in this country.